Dinger51 here with some tips for beginners looking to find some old historic sites. Two websites that I use, one is called Historic Mapworks and the other is Historic Aerials. And if you're looking to try to find an easy way to look at some old historic sites, stay tuned and I'll help you out. So the first site that I'm going to show you what I use in order to find some older homes is Historic Aerials. Now, Historic Aerials doesn't cover every state in the United States. I'm in Ohio, and it took probably 5 years to get this state to be covered. The oldest imagery that I can find for the area I like to hunt is about 1959, but you know that that's going to be good enough for us. But let me show you. I'll just go ahead and put in where I'm from. And after I go ahead and search, you'll see that it won't pop up into the Main Street area or downtown area, but it does a decent job of finding an area to go through and hunt. So I can just tell you right now that I know that, let's see, that this area right about here is a pretty good area. This is the actual area that I found the cut. And this is a park called JC Park in my town. You'll notice that in 2013 here, I have two tennis courts. There's wooded area right here, a hill, a nice open field. There was a playground here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to compare it. And this is again for beginners, I guess you could say, or people who are newer to the area of online research. A lot of the people who have been using this have been very successful. So you can slide over to 1959 and you can get an idea and see where exactly and what exactly is going on. I can tell you right now that this area that I'm highlighting, this was a field and people played baseball in this area back in the early 50s. And so when you go ahead and slide to see what it looks like today, you can see they added a tennis court, and this has definitely filled in over the years. And I noticed that this area right here, they were actually digging to put in some drainage tile, and that's what I found on the cut video that I can share with you right now. I also have used this to try to find older homes. And if you go and look, it does have a topographical setting where you can switch over to a topographical area, but you might need to back out just a little bit to get a good idea of where it is. And these streets don't match up exactly, but you could get an idea. Now, there's a couple areas that I'm interested in hitting, and I'll show you. One is this area right in here, back in early 1930, 36, 30, I guess the 30s. I can't pin down exactly when this area disappeared, but it was close to the late 30s. But back in early 30, this used to be a beer or brewery. My town had its own brewery, as most towns did. But you can see that this area isn't actually there anymore. And it looks like there may have been some older home sites there as well. So, an interesting area for me to try to find, and I will definitely use this in that way. So, I hope this kind of explains to you how to go about using this site to try to find older areas, older homes, older schools, and kind of see what was there. You can go ahead and leave a comment and see if this helped you. Again, most of the people who have been online using online research have known about this site. The second site that I'm going to take you to is called Historic Mapworks. And this is a really neat opportunity for you to see some very old 1800s, at least in my area, upper 1800s sites. So the first way that I use this is I go to search, and I'm going to search by keyword. So I click keyword, and again, put in my hometown. And you'll notice that a bunch of maps have populated. I have one from 1873, 1891, I'm going to use, and you're going to have to look at this because it doesn't work for every map. I'm going to go ahead and use a map that covers a good amount of area. These smaller maps here, they don't actually work in the overlays that I'm going to try to show you. So you can go ahead and click on the map, and the map populates. Here's the cool thing. Scroll down, and now you have a free overlay, and the overlay will then populate. And it takes a little bit of time to render. And the map actually sits right on top of the map that you're going to look at. The first way that I use this, and you can go ahead and use this any way you want, is to go ahead and zoom in just a little bit and let the map render. It's a pretty clear map, if you'll notice here. It takes some time. And I start in the upper left-hand corner, and I just kind of work my way around, and I look for old schools, old churches, old mills, and old home sites that were at corners of intersections that I think may have been very busy. So you can go ahead and look and gradually look through some old schools. Sorry about that. My mouse on my Mac is not very good, so let's see if I could pull it back a little bit. But here you see it rendering. Now I want to show you what a school looks like. A school actually has a box around it. If you look right in here where my cursor is, I hope it doesn't move again, but you can see that there was an old school. Here, there's a cemetery, old cemetery here, some houses right there. Now, the way that I go ahead and check this is I go ahead and I hit my Google satellite, and then I will take the actual map off in terms of the transparency. All right, now I know that I can double click and go into this site, and then once again, try to let that map render, and you'll see that it takes a little time. But I know this is the area that I'm sort of looking at. And then you can play around with the transparency and see about where something might have been. But this is a really, really neat way to look at where some homes were that weren't anymore, or where some schools were that weren't anymore. Here's a school right in here. And if I go ahead and do exactly, what I'm doing, you could see that just after the intersection here, just about right in here, you have to kind of play around with what you're looking at. You can see that this area, this was an old school. And a lot of times you'll have to try to find who owns the area or land, and then you can hunt or do what you need to do to try to find some old coins or relics. But this area does look good. Sometimes you'll actually find that in fields like this, there was old homes at this corner. Let's see, nope, no old homes in this corner. But it's a really neat way to go ahead and look at the area that you're trying to hunt.